Hello, I'm Anna Persaud. I'm the CEO of This Works, and I am with expert fragrance presenter and all-round amazing woman, Alice Parcq.
Thank you.
We're here today because This Works has introduced a new fine fragrance onto the market called Own Time, and Alice has played a really important part in that development. And so Alice has kindly agreed to join me today. We've got some questions that people have asked of you.
Yes, in my DM, some amazing questions that my audience has asked me about Own Time, because I did a little video all about it. But the questions I've been asked are fascinating, so we'll get into that and answer everything.
Excellent. So, Own Time was born from my need to find a way to help to regulate my nervous system. I'm somebody that's got a permanently oversensitive, dysregulated nervous system, and so I have to really try hard in order to be able to move from daytime alertness, where I'm, always on, thinking, working, firing on all cylinders, using the sympathetic part of the nervous system. And in the evening, when I want to relax, when I want to be present, I want to enjoy my food, I want to talk to my children, I want to connect and have conversations, I find it difficult. And what we know from our work, This Works, in looking at the nervous system and understanding the body clock, is that actually the nervous system should naturally move from active, always on, which is the sympathetic, into the parasympathetic. And amazingly, you can use aroma molecules, specifically terpenes and sesquiterpenes, to help that switch. And over 18 months ago, I started a process with my research team and our science advisor, who is actually a neuroscientist. He's a professor called Gabby Bader. And we started researching and looking at different molecules, different terpenes, and how they could, if you put them together and built an aroma bottom up, so molecule by molecule, if we could create something that would help, when we inhale, help our bodies to move out of activity into rest and digest. So we did the process, and over a year ago, we got to the point where we had something that we thought would work in terms of scientifically work. We were doing the studies. But in all truth, when I smelt the aroma and shared it with my family last Christmas, I came back and I thought, this isn't right. There's something about this aroma that isn't right, and I cannot put something onto the market that is going to disappoint, because my brand is called This Works, and it has to work, and people have to love it. Now, your reputation comes before you. You've been in the industry many years, and you are highly regarded and highly respected.
Thank you.
And luckily for me, I was introduced to you, and I thought, I'm going to ask Alice if she can help me to work with the fragrance house, Givaudan, to build something that people would love. So when I came to you, Alice, last January with my, what I felt was my best job, what did you think?
So initially, I thought to myself, how do I not own this already, and why does it not exist in the fragrance landscape? Because it totally made sense. I am that person who comes home after a big day of work, or the kids are back and it's that wind down time, underwire off, hair up into a top knot, joggers on, cup of brewed, laptop slammed down, and I have that moment in the early evening where I need to make that shift. So how do I not have a fragrance, especially coming from my line of work? Why do I not have a fragrance to accompany that, to be part of my toolkit of winding down? And I think what I was probably doing before is replacing that extra sensorial moment with a glass of wine or a snack before dinner, or something that probably isn't great for me. So when you talk to me about this idea, it's like all the light bulbs went off. Of course this makes sense. And how is it that I don't have this in my life already?
Well, what I found really reassuring when we spoke was you thought it was a good enough idea for you to work with me.
Definitely.
Because I'm a scientist and I get pretty convinced about my own ideas. I always think they're right. But I was scared to step onto the fragrance market without really using somebody's expert advice, someone's consultancy like you, who could say, Anna, no, that just doesn't smell right. And one of the things that was so amazing was your ability to take my idea and find the words and the emotion that I couldn't find, because I'm the scientist and you're the journalist. So when you first smelt it, what words came into your mind?
I remember thinking that it had to be comforting and cozy, and there was some of that in it already. And I thought those are the feelings and the emotions we really need to elaborate here, because in my content and in my writing, I write a lot about scented self-care and using fragrance almost as a sort of chapter break in your day to change your frame of mind, to help you sort of push an emotion. Already there exists a lot of functional fragrances that have all the calming molecules, but no one really tells you when and how to use them. And this was such a clear instruction. So there was a very specific time in which to use this. And I thought to myself, it needs to feel incredibly enveloping and incredibly calming. It can't feel too sedative and sleepy, which is a really important thing, that you didn't want it to be that either.
Yeah.
And I knew that those sort of woody flavors and those soft, almost smudgy skin scents feel incredibly comforting, because I listen to my audience every day. They're in my DMs, they're in my hand all the time. I'm listening to my community tell me what makes them feel calm and rested and comforted. So I just used all those textures and temperatures and tones when I was talking with Julie Noé from Givaudan in the fragrance scent profile development chat, which I found fascinating and brilliant, because using those analogies and metaphors and that sort of language, which I've developed over the years, she completely understood, because you're the scientist and my slightly weirdo creative imaginarium worked brilliantly together, because you knew exactly what you wanted, and I felt that I could contribute just a little bit of that sort of squiggly line around it.
I couldn't convey the emotion to the nose. I mean, I had sat in calls and tried.
Yeah.
And then I sat in calls with you there, and she understood you, and you understood her, and I'm the scientist. And between the three of us, and our fragrance developer in-house, Fraser, I mustn't forget Fraser.
Love
Between the four of us came this fragrance. I remember something that we went through lots and lots of different aroma profiles, our own, but also we looked at the market.
Yep.
And, we talked about the fragrances for going out.
Yep.
And we talked about the fragrances, the power fragrances.
Yep.
So
the big glam bombs.
Just share some of those words, because I loved it and how we fit into that.
So I remember vividly, we had like a whole table full of fragrances that you loved as well. Lots of woody ones. Some were a bit creamy, some were a bit dry. And we needed to find something that wasn't too sexy, not too... And we loved the profile of like a sort of churchy incense fragrance, but we couldn't have it too sexy church, because that wouldn't be right for this. No. It couldn't be too fresh and bright and cobweb busting, hangover splash. It couldn't be that, because that's too enlivening. So it had to be something that made you feel well, but comforted and cocooned. And we smelt lots of different things together, and we realized that the sandalwood theme that you loved was definitely leaning in towards that soft, slightly kind of milky, comforting wood that wasn't too dry or earthy or manly. Even though we love a sort of handsome smell, it needed to be a little bit softer on the edges. So introducing those ingredients like the tonka bean, it gave it a sort of a squidge that it needed to feel like it was the scent equivalent to like a cashmere hoodie.
I love that. And so on this subject of, for men, for women, we wanted something that, was really for everyone. Mm-hmm. I think I shared with you that in the development, I used my sons in the process, and the 13-year-old wore it to school every day. We had the whole of, year 8, their input into the fragrance.
Love that.
So do you think we managed to achieve this, gender neutral concept?
I feel that the scent profile lends itself to humans in general, regardless of gender or age, because it's a woody and warm scent profile that's so nature rich, and it really makes us lean towards the things that feel comforting and reassuring, like a sort of woodland scenario or a warm space. And those are the elements and the emotions and the sensorial textures that actually we're all attracted to as humans. We are pulled towards comfort and reassurance.
And interestingly, the molecules that we used or we identified as needing to be in this fragrance are terpenes, which come from plants that would have been growing around us as humans as we evolved.
Yeah.
So we would have been naturally inhaling these, man, woman or child.
Yep.
in our environment. And I think it's not surprising that we will naturally feel more at ease with these natural fragrances as we do with sounds,
Yep.
rather than with synthetics. So we talked to you about the molecules, and we talked to you about the idea of sesquiterpenes, and the fact that we actually put an odorless
Yep.
aroma into this because we had done studies and there'd been research on this odorless aroma that still works with the nervous system and helps to switch it into rest and digest. What did you think about that idea? And has that come up as a thing?
When you told me about that, I fully trusted you because this is your thing. This is something you've researched and you know everything about. So knowing that a fragrance includes something that will make me feel a certain way, but without being aware of it, I felt like I was just being very reassured and looked after. And I think as humans, we all need that. We all need something that's going to subliminally, subconsciously stroke your hair without you even noticing and make you feel better. So knowing that there was this invisible, magical molecule that was getting to work without me having to do anything just felt really reassuring and comforting in itself.
No, I think it's quite, it's very interesting that something that actually doesn't have a scent that we are picking up is still picked up in the brain.
Yeah.
And this odorless molecule, we did studies on its own, with it in its own right, with nothing else, and we saw that it could help people to get to sleep more quickly and be more relaxed. And so combining that into the overall blend felt like a way of really strengthening its efficacy, because obviously we are a wellness brand that prides itself on efficacy. We're called This Works, so
Yep.
it needs to work. The other thing that we did was we included a molecule that's activated by UV light. So I remember saying to you, Alice, listen, there are a million gazillion fragrances on the market, and we are a sleep brand. We are a brand that's trusted for sleep. We sold millions of pillar sprays, and I want to give people a fine fragrance that they put on their skin, and it has to obey all the rules of fine fragrance, which is where you come in. And it needs to help people to relax in the evening, make that transition into rest and digest, so they can be calm, they can, have restorative time in the evening. And we want them to get to sleep. We want them, when they inhale the fragrance, to get to sleep more quickly, stay asleep for longer. I think that we did our own studies to show that, in fact, yes, this fragrance, and I think we're the first on the market, fine fragrance, that can show through studies we can help people to sleep better. So I said to you, Alice, listen, it's a nighttime fragrance. And you said, it's not an out, it's an in. This is for your inner world. This is for you. But I also shared with you that we have a molecule in there that is activated by UV light.
Yep.
Tell me, I think you've had some questions on that.
So I'm really glad you mentioned that, because in my content, when I've talked about own time, in my DMs and on the comments, there are a few people who have said, I love the smell so much. Can I wear it in the day, or will it make me feel sleepy? And knowing that actually it's got a very specific tech within it that makes it okay to use in the day, and it's not going to have a sedative effect on you. I think that's really reassuring.
Yeah, so it's for use we said, listen, it's your time, this time between 6 o'clock and midnight. It's got a specific role to play in your circadian rhythm, that evening period, which we often ignore. We overrule with use of tech and busy lives. So we said, listen, pay attention. This is an important time of day in the 24-hour clock. This fragrance will help you create good rituals. It will help to retrain the brain into a state of relaxation, rather than us fighting that and struggling to relax in the evening. But as life is, some of us might want to use it in the day, and so we included a molecule that is activated by light. And so actually over the day, if you wear it in the morning, this UV molecule is broken by light and the fragrance aroma changes.
Yeah.
So for the wearer, you've got two uses. You've got nighttime and daytime. And you're right, it's not going to put people to sleep during the day.
Yeah.
But I think we its role is to help you regulate your nervous system. Right?
Yes.
We're all about nervous system regulation, so you are more able to relax. I would say that if you are driving and you are tired,
Yes, probably.
Don't
Probably don't drench
don't
yourself.
spray yourself in the fragrance before driving,
Yeah.
because if you're struggling to keep your eyes open, this might be not a good idea.
Yeah.
We haven't tested it. It wouldn't be ethical, but we would definitely say, be careful, don't use it if you're just about to go on a long journey, operate a heavy machinery.
Yeah.
Health
Understood.
warning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, really interestingly, you were talking about brain habit. I found myself, because I've been wearing it for maybe 2 months now, I have found myself craving it. And a little bit in the same way that maybe somebody might crave a drink at the end of the workday, or watching a specific television program, or doing something, that ritual that marks the end of the workday and the opening of your private own time, your precious family rest, digest, connection time. I found myself getting anxious and worried if I haven't put it on. And I remember even last night I said to the kids, guys, can somebody grab my own time bottle, because I haven't put it on yet and I'm busy making your dinner. And the kids went to go and get the bottle for me, because I feel like I don't want to feel that I'm addicted to it. But is that something that possibly the terpenes can make you feel? Or is it just that my brain enjoys the ritual and the smell, the scent and the effect on me so much that it's asking me for it?
Yeah, so there's 2 points that I need to answer there. So with the research that's out there, with all the research we've done and the research on terpenes, there is nothing to say that terpenes have an addiction profile. Okay, and just to reassure everyone, terpenes are found in essential oils. Because that's what's being used in the fragrance. Including, essential oils that you're all very familiar with. These terpenes are found in lavender, they're found in rosemary, they're found in citrus. Okay, so there's no addiction profile for these.
Okay.
However, the point you're making is that you are creating new rituals, you're creating new pathways in the mind, in the brain, and the brain is now predicting that when you smell the fragrance, nice things are going to happen.
Yes.
You are getting used to creating an environment that you feel relaxed in. And your brain is predicting, when I spray this, after that, I'm going to feel better.
Yes.
Hence this reliance, you're going to use the word, but you could swap that for something else. It's just, it's acting as a break moment where you make that choice and your brain is now associating this fragrance with change that's coming. And that's a good thing. People shouldn't use the word addiction, but we like to think that the fragrance can act as a lever to pull when you want to make that change. You inhale.
Definitely.
You can also use breathing techniques to enhance the effect of using a fragrance. And we've been doing content on that, talking to breathwork experts. The idea that when you inhale and you do a longer exhale, so you're inhaling for 4, you're exhaling for, let's say, 6 or 8 seconds, that has an effect on the vagus nerve. And using breathwork in that way combined with aroma can be really effective in the evenings to help you make that transition.
Just that moment of making the conscious decision to put my hair up, take my jewelry off, put some loungewear on. It's time to end the chaos of the day and to begin the wind down moment. That transition is such a great feeling, and to have a fragrance to accompany that in my emotional toolbox and physical toolbox is such a lovely thing to have. It feels so reassuring just to have the bottle with me. And that's the feedback that I've got from my audience who have bought it and tried it and have started to use it on a regular basis. It's become this really beautiful, happy, positive, reassuring and comforting signal. And we don't have time to remember all these things, but one thing like that does all the work for you is incredibly reassuring in itself. Just the idea is very reassuring. It happens to also smell incredible.
Well, thanks to you. I would also say, just to support that in the study that we did over 28 days, and we asked everyone who was in the study to evaluate how they felt in terms of their ability to relax more, to be more present in their evening, to be able to more connection with those around them, and also how they slept. Over 28 days, that improved.
Yeah.
And that's because as we begin to relearn and train our nervous system to be able to move out of the fight or flight into the rest and digest, as we relearn how to regulate, these other things will become easier for us.
Yeah.
So it isn't surprising. And we also found that the way people felt about the fragrance built over time.
Yep.
So sometimes, and I'll be honest, people will smell the fragrance and think, well, I don't like that.
Totally.
And I'd say,
Yep.
do you know what? Just try it, see how you feel. And do you know what? If you measure your data like I do, I'm a data wearer or a ring wearer, have a look at what happens to your sleep quality. Look at your heart rate variability. Look at your deep sleep. Look at your REM sleep.
Yep.
Tell me how you feel in the morning. And actually, some of the most challenging early testers who said, I don't like this, after 2 weeks called me up and said, I can't do without it now. My sleep is so amazing.
Yeah.
And it's, I think it's working on many levels.
Yeah.
And thanks to you, it smells amazing.
Oh, good. I feel that when before I was using Own Time, I've got this very classical nighttime situation where I go to sleep pretty quickly, actually, because I'm shattered. But around sort of 3 a.m., wake up for a wee. Most women have to. But it's then going back to sleep that I've always struggled with, because that's when the hamster ball kicks in and the chaos starts rolling around, and I think about the entire world, my kids, work, life, my parents, happiness, illness, the house, all of the stuff comes crashing into my head around that time, because it's when life is very quiet and I have time to think about it. But I can't get the hamster ball to stop spinning. And what I found is that if I'm smelling my skin, or even putting a little bit of an extra spray on, my focus is completely exclusive to the smell, and I'm thinking about how beautiful the scent is. I know that it's doing something to help me, because I trust that process, I trust the science, and my focus completely goes on to the scent and how I feel, and then I'm straight back to sleep. So I don't let the hamster ball take over. It slows down because my perspective has changed completely, and that's helping me so much that over time I'm accumulating more sleep. I feel better generally in the day, because that continuous pattern of broken sleep it breaks you. It affects your mood, it affects your fuse as a parent, as a friend, as a daughter, as a partner. All of that is affected by rubbish sleep.
Yeah.
And if you can nail a more peaceful and healthy sleep pattern, that's really the answer to everything, isn't it? So if you can do that while smelling incredible and having a beautiful self-care ritual like that, I mean, heaven.
Can I ask you something about layering? Because you're the layering queen.
Yep.
In your view, what is the best way to layer Own Time? How would you recommend people use it?
Really interesting you mentioned that, actually, because a lot of the feedback in my DMs and comments, people have asked, can I wear it on top of the fragrance that I'm already wearing in the daytime? And actually what happens if you spray your fragrance in the morning or around lunchtime, by the time that evening moment arrives, the top notes and the middle notes will have dispersed off and floated away, and you're left with the very sort of faint remnants of the base notes, which tend to be quite woody and rich, which are like sandalwood and tonka bean, which is what's in Own Time. So what you're doing is actually layering Own Time already on a base that's very similar in terms of scent profile, so it's not going to change hugely. If you wear a citrus fragrance or a bright floral, those molecules will have already diffused off very quickly because they're lighter in size and weight, so they're not going to hang on to your skin for too long. So by the time you're wearing Own Time, it's almost like you're spraying onto a fresh new canvas. So don't worry, it's all going to work out in the end, and it will smell delicious, and it's your skin's way of just interpreting it and making it melt into the fragrance that you've got already, but chances are it will all sort of fuse together in a really beautiful way.
People have said to me, where do I wear Own Time? And I said, well, you have to wear it up here, because you have to be able to inhale the aroma for it to work. So we know, well, you know better than I do. I mean, some people wear fragrances down here, don't they? And I know, they might in this part of the body.
Yep.
But actually, for maximum effect before sleep and for the evening, you want it up here. So I don't know, that's kind of almost like
Yeah.
you can profile your fragrance
Yeah.
in that way too, can't you?
I mean, I've got to say, I always spray my forearms, my paws, because when I go to sleep, and I always sleep on my side,
Ah,
and then I can smell it just on my forearms there, and it's so lovely to kind of nuzzle in and have that scent
yeah.
around you. I always spray here as well, just sort of behind the ears, even on my hair,
I smell it on
because
my hair.
I just love it.
I love it on my hair.
I love it.
So when we were looking at the fragrances on the market and understanding, one of the questions that we had to ask ourselves is, what concentration should this be? Because I've been in fragrance many years ago, and fragrances used to be really a lot lighter and less concentrated. And I think obviously COVID's changed our ability to inhale fragrance. I don't know. But you told me it needed to be 25%. So we made it 25%.
Yep.
Do you think we've achieved a lasting profile?
Personally, from my perspective, I think yes. When I spray it, it lasts incredibly well on me. It projects in a really beautiful way, not too much, but not so little that I can't smell it, that I'm not aware of it. I do think that your skin texture and your skin physiology can change the way a fragrance performs on you, which is completely normal.
Yeah.
For me, yeah, it lasts. And the feedback, the overwhelming majority of feedback that I've had, everyone says it lasts ages on them. And I think that if it doesn't, that's okay. That's just your scent profile, but also how you interpret a scent. We all smell things differently. And I reckon that you making a little trial version, like a little sample size, and the travel size is genius, because then you can try before you cry.
Yes, we did. We said, let's make it available to people in a price point that,
Yep.
feels acceptable. So a 5 ml, a price point £10 to
Yep.
enter in. You can buy that on thisworks.com. And then we do a 10 ml, which is,
Yep.
I think you like it. It's quite a nice
There's
travel
one
size.
in my handbag. Yep.
Yeah, and then we have the 50 ml, which I'm very proud of. And Alice also was part of that story. We said, I feel like I have a really beautiful old-fashioned alarm clock next to my bed.
Yep.
So it sits on the bedside table and I look at it. And when I wake up in the morning and the light hits it, I feel very proud.
When I first saw it for the first time, we had gone to a lovely dinner together, and it was there, and I couldn't believe it was in my hands, because I'd seen all these different bottle shapes from the bottle designer, the packaging designer on screen, and at one point it was going to be white and the cap was going to be black and all sorts of things, and suddenly seeing it, I just felt so proud, so happy. It looked beautiful, it looked elegant and luxurious, but also a little bit fun as well. It's a little alarm clock.
It's a little alarm clock.
It's your little evening friend, and I love it. So many people have reacted just so positively to this. And the question from everyone and from me, what's next in the Own Time legacy?
Well, first of all, we need a lot more people to discover it. So please come and try This Works, come and try your own time. We will be doing some body products. Obviously, it makes sense to be able to create products that will work with the fragrance and home fragrance. But in the future, Alice, because we are the brand that's been, doing our neuroscience research, understanding the body clock, we have more terpene science in the pipeline and fragrances that we think can help people in other moments in the 24-hour clock. So I will be coming to you for your help.
Yes.
For the next, the next moment in time.
Happy to. Please, can I put in a request for a candle and some incense sticks? Thank you very much.